According to a UN report released this year, over 25,000 foreign nationals have traveled abroad to join the Islamic State and its progenitor of terror, Al-Qaeda. That's 25,000 people who wanted a chance to be something more, but have become so much less. What could possibly draw someone to embrace this nightmare? What malicious mind would willingly succumb to the glowering embers of war? The first and most horrifically widespread means of ensnarement cast by the Islamic State is their infamously masterful use of the World Wide Web. Online, the Islamic State has tapped an infinitely vast platform from which they glorify their path of violence. This fountain of hate reaches out to those who access this virtual world looking for purpose, a sense of belonging, and achievement. As we already know, there are at least 25,000 occasions when that temptation of a dynamic paradigm shift in life has converted what we might consider an ordinary citizen, someone like you or me, into an agent of terror. The second, far more insidious means the Islamic State employs for the recruitment of young fighters is found in the group's ideology. The Islamic State supporters insist that the world is poised at the precipice of Armageddon, a great conflagration of war which will engulf the entirety of Earth. According to a minority of interpretations of Islam, this war is inevitable. This, they say, is the time to act. This is the time to live, to fight, and to die. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the diabolic genius of the Islamic State's recruitment stratagem. You could go to Starbucks, get that latte, go to work, and hope for a raise in 2 years. Or you could live, fight, and die in the penultimate hours of the apocalyptic struggle between the so-called armies of Rome and the armies of Islam. I believe that we must combat the amoral ideology of the Islamic State, not with violence, which only fuels their assertion that war is inevitable, but with cognitive moral discussion. The key for successfully addressing recruiting strategies of the Islamic State is the construction of a passive defense, an aegis of understanding. It is imperative that people around the world understand that while the Islamic State is affiliated with Islam, it does not mean that every Muslim supports the Islamic State. In fact, the overwhelming majority of Muslims are staunch opponents of the stances which the Islamic State has taken. The policy of governments around the world who monitor individuals that support or intend to join terrorist groups should be continued. Doing so will allow the international community to work together and identify at-risk groups, thereby allowing the elements which provoke them to support terrorism to be elucidated nationally, regionally, and globally. Most important of all, we must never forget that we stand together, brothers and sisters of this world. Through solidarity, we can depend on one another for understanding, for tolerance, for hope, for a better tomorrow. Through understanding the Islamic State, we can address and mitigate its influence using nonviolent strategies. We can save the minds and souls of those who wrestle with these stark temptations. Instead of bathing our world with fire and blood, let us cleanse the war-ravaged hearts of this world with cooperation, with understanding, and with the unflinching pursuit of hope, that we may rid our world of the darkness, of terror and isolation. Thank you.